To Georgia, the reigning national champions, of course. Not a lot of questions. I mean, there's a lot to
what do you say
replace,
about
but
Georgia? You know,
they've arguably got the best roster, maybe this side of Alabama in the country. I mean, I don't know where you're at with Ohio State, but right there, they look like everybody is going to be picking them to win the SEC East, and for good reason. My only question really is, do they have that drive? Do they have that hunger? I mean, I think Kirby's saying all the right things, and people point at the fact that he was at Alabama and they were able to do it, but that means nothing to me because these players have not been where they're at right now at the top of the mountain, and everybody telling them how great they are. They've been getting pats on the back for months and months and months. So how hard are they working behind the scenes? We're going to find out real quick with this game. Oregon, what can you tell us about Oregon? And of course, we know Dan Lanning. We know Bo Nix, who I don't think he's been named starter yet, but it's
most
assumed,
likely the starter
right.
for
So,
Oregon, yeah.
I don't want to say trap game right out the gate, but what can you tell Georgia fans about Oregon in this opener they got?
Yeah, I think when we did our Pac-12 predictions, they were the clear favorite in the North, and I think that holds true. The Pac-12 changed its conference championship game rules, so Oregon may not be the second best team anymore in the Pac-12. It could be USC, but that kind of gives you an idea. They're in that top 10 to 15 of college football. A team that is strong along the line of offensive line of scrimmage. They have Bo Nix, as you mentioned. There's familiarity with Dan Lanning, young skill talent on the outside of receiver, and some good running backs as well. The defense was not as good last year. They got pushed around against Utah, so that will be something to watch. I think in that game is how does Oregon's offensive line handle that defensive front of Georgia, and then on the flip side of things, Georgia's offensive line should be very good this year, and so they should be able to kind of impose their will on the Ducks' defensive front. There's no more Kayvon Thibodeau either, who went to the NFL draft. So this is a very good Oregon team, but I also think when you look at the top of college football, there's a clear elite class of Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. Oregon's in that second tier.
Well, looking at Georgia's schedule, is there one game in the SEC that looks like maybe there's an upset possibility? I mean, I've already gone on record at South Carolina, so I bet Kirby's got that in the locker room, so they're going to probably beat the hell out of the Gamecocks. I'm just waiting for, what's his name, Old Takes Exposed.
Yeah, to come get us for later. Yeah.
He's going to have a good time that Saturday, but any other teams outside of the trip to Columbia that you see could give Georgia the most issue?
I think looking later in the season at Mississippi State, at Kentucky, I will just be honest, I don't see any team here that will be, in spread-wise, it'll be within 10 points of Georgia. It could be even a little bit higher. This team, I know that they only returned 10 starters. They lost a lot on defense. I'm not worried at all. I think they've reached that Alabama point to where they're just cycling through the next wave. I mean, Georgia fans know how good Jalen Carter is, Nolan Smith, Robert Beal, Keely Ringo. The rest of the nation's about to find out, and their offense could be even better this year. I mean, certainly there's some faces to replace at running back. We know that Georgia finds running backs. They're Brock Bowers, Eric Gilbert, Washington at tight end. I mean, they're loaded at the skill talent. So I think this Georgia team, we've got them at 12-0 in the regular season. It's hard for me to find a loss. The only caveat in college football is that it is really hard to go unbeaten. As you were alluding to, it's hard to repeat. I mean, go back to the BCS era, and Alabama's the only team one time to go back-to-back. So Georgia's fighting history, and they're also fighting some personnel turnover, but I'm not really that worried about the personnel turnover.
Now, let me ask you one thing, though, Stephen, because we got here, as pointed out by Athlon, Georgia faced an average distance of 5.86 yards to go, second shortest in all of college football, but converted only 44%, and we're talking third downs, which is 41st nationally. Now, they had an all-time great defense, and as also the magazine, of course, points out, it's not going to be as good. I mean, it would be impossible to be that good. Now, they could still be the best in the SEC.
I was going to say, yeah,
you know what I mean?
they gave up 10 points a game last year. That's really, really elite. They could be just 15 this year. That's still first in the SEC.
Exactly. But there may come a time where Stetson Bennett, I mean, when I look at that third down number, that to me says Stetson at times, that guy gets too much heat he just won a national championship. I'm not trying to bury him. I'm not saying when's he going to get benched like I was saying all last season.
Right.
He's earned that starting role, but is that concerning at all that Maybe it is Mississippi State, maybe it is at Kentucky, maybe it is South Carolina, where he's got to convert on third down, particularly early in the season with that defense. I don't want to say they get in a shootout, but if they got to get to 28, 30 points to win a game, what's your confidence level that Stetson will deliver?
I think pretty high. I think we saw this last year. I mean, he led the SEC in yards per attempt at 10, and we also saw this in the fourth quarter against Alabama. I certainly think his upside is a little bit limited compared to some of the other quarterbacks in the SEC as far as talent, but at the same time, I mean, he delivered last year, and the skill talent that Georgia brings back at receiver with the tight ends like we talked about, it is certainly, I think, a concern. It's an area they can work on, but I think it also, to go back to what we were just talking about, who's going to push this team? That's the question in the East, is that even if Georgia regresses a little bit, which team can jump up and take that step? And it's really hard to see Kentucky, Florida, or Tennessee being able to do that, because you probably need Georgia to lose twice.
Right.
Maybe they can stumble once, like you said, at South Carolina or maybe at Kentucky. But losing twice, that seems like a lot to ask. I think maybe the best way to look at this is they have 12 games to get ready to play Alabama in the SEC championship game, and then one game to maybe fix their issues again before playing them in the national championship.
Oh, man. Yeah, but I can't sell that, Steven. I got to sell hope. You know what I mean?
We're trying to get you off of the old takes exposed.
But next on the docket,